All right, today we are cracking a huge case in the world of AI. It's terrible memory. We're going to be looking at a brand new AI agent called AgentFold. And what's so cool about it is that it thinks less like a machine and, well, a lot more like a super sharp detective on a really tough case.
So here's the plan. First, we're going to dig into the fundamental problem, this impossible choice that's been holding AI back. Then we'll look at the secret sauce AgentFold borrows from, you guessed it, the human brain. We'll see how it actually works, this whole folding thing, and then we'll get to the proof. And trust me, the results are pretty mind-blowing. Finally, we'll talk about what this all means for the future.
Okay, so to really get why AgentFold is such a big deal, we have to start with the problem. You see, up until now, AI agents trying to do complex things online have been stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's a real paradox. Think of it like this. You can hire one of two detectives. On the left, you've got the hoarder. This guy keeps every single note, every ticket stub, every piece of junk. Pretty soon his desk is so buried in useless noise that he can't find the one critical clue that matters. In AI terms, that's context saturation. Then you've got the amnesiac. This detective is neat, all right. He summarizes everything into one sentence every hour. The problem? He might just summarize away the most important detail, and poof, it's gone forever. That's catastrophic information loss. See the problem? Neither of these guys is going to solve a long, complicated case. So if those are our options, how do we build a better detective? Well, the brilliant folks behind AgentFold looked at the best problem solver we know of, our own brains. And this quote right here is the secret. Think about how a real detective works. They have that classic corkboard, right? They don't just randomly tack stuff up, no way. They group related clues, draw lines, and when they solve one part of the puzzle, they replace a whole cluster of clues with a single summary note. It's an active workspace, not just a passive bucket for information. That's the big idea. And that, right there, is where AgentFold comes in. It is designed from the ground up to be that smart detective, the one who actively manages its own thoughts and its own cognitive workspace. So how does it do it? Well, here's the crucial trick. It doesn't treat memory as one giant, messy notebook. It splits it in two. First, there's the long-term memory. That's the clean, organized corkboard with all the confirmed facts and solved leads. And then there's the working memory. That's like the magnifying glass it's using right now on a single brand new clue, seeing it in perfect detail. Okay, so how does it manage this workspace? What's the secret weapon? Well, it all comes down to a special move the agent can make at any time. It's called the fold operation. Check out this loop. Most AIs just perceive, reason, and then act. But look at what AgentFold does. It sticks this extra, super smart step right in the middle, fold. So before it ever decides what to do next, it stops and thinks, okay, how should I organize what I just learned? Managing its memory isn't an afterthought, it's part of the thinking itself. Now, this fold move has a couple of flavors. First up is what's called granular condensation. This is for those aha moments, when the agent finds one absolutely critical piece of information. It carefully takes that one clue and pins it to the long-term corkboard, making sure not a single detail is lost. And then there's the power move, deep consolidation. This is where the agent steps back, looks at a whole bunch of related clues, and realizes, you know what? I've solved this part of the mystery. It then takes that entire messy cluster and replaces it with one simple, clean summary card that says, alibi for suspect X, confirmed. This keeps its workspace tidy so it can focus on what's still unsolved. Now that all sounds great, doesn't it? But does it actually work? Well, this is the part where our smart detective walks into the courtroom and presents the evidence. And let me tell you, the evidence is overwhelming. Just look at this. It's incredible. On a really tough benchmark, our little 30 billion parameter AgentFold scores over 36%. Now look at the competition. DeepSeek, a monster of a model at 671 billion parameters. That's more than 20 times bigger. Can't even crack 30%. This just proves it's not about brute force. It's about being smart. And it's not a fluke. It's not just beating one model. AgentFold basically sets a new record for open source agents. And look, it's even holding its own against the big proprietary names like OpenAI's latest. It's a real contender. So what's the secret to its success? It's all about focus. After 100 steps into a task, its active memory is a staggering 92% smaller than one of those hoarders agents. It's just not getting bogged down. It's lean, mean, and incredibly efficient.
But let's see this in action, because this is where it gets really cool. In one test, the agent was trying to find some GPS coordinates, and it just kept failing. For 11 steps in a row, it tries the same kind of thing and gets nowhere. It's hit a brick wall. Now, your average agent would either just keep banging its head against that wall or it would give up. But AgentFold does something amazing. It stops. It actually reflects on what it's been doing. And then it does that power move, the deep consolidation. It takes that whole string of 11 failures and folds it into a single, simple lesson. Okay, this approach is not working. It is literally learning from its own mistakes right in the middle of the task. And what does it do with that lesson? It completely changes tactics. It pivots. It stops looking for the coordinates and comes up with a much smarter plan B. This isn't just following a program anymore. This is real adaptive problem solving.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What's the final verdict on this whole thing? Well, it's about a lot more than just a clever trick for managing memory.
What we're really seeing here is a jump from AIs that just follow a script to AIs that are becoming, well, self-aware knowledge managers. They can actually shape their own thinking process. They decide what's important, what to focus on, and how to learn from their own journey. And that changes everything. This opens the door for AIs that can tackle incredibly complex, long-term problems that have just been impossible until now. Things like deep scientific research or complex financial analysis. It leaves you wondering, with an AI that can truly organize its own thoughts, what mysteries are we going to solve next?